Hey, so I'm here today with Tech Talk Tony. By the way, you can subscribe right up here and hear these amazing topics. And today, my friend Rocky McGuire, who is a, strategic advisory board through HDI. I was lucky to get to meet, and I saw him just, a couple weeks ago, right? Rocky, we were just in Denver together, right? And that
Yeah,
was
we
a great
were.
time.
Yeah, it was
So,
great.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for joining. And I know you have your own podcast as well. Maybe if it's okay, I'll have you introduce yourself and you can share about that podcast.
Yeah, so I'm Rocky McGuire. I am on the HTI Strategic Advisory Board. It's not my podcast.
Okay.
It's I'm the host.
That's
I'm
right.
the host. It's actually for HTI local chapters. It's called Bites and Banter. And Tony, we hope to have you on. And
Thank
we
you.
just similar to what you're doing. We love telling people stories and giving them opportunity to talk about things that bring value to the HTI local chapter community. So yeah, no, I appreciate you giving a shout out to Bites and Banter. And I my role, what I do for my day job
Yeah.
is I'm the head of North America for Service Desk at a large MSP. And so I have about, I think, like 15 leaders that report into me, and
Nice.
then about 300 total people in the US that ultimately are serving our customers at the service desk.
That's great. That's great. And being able to do this type of work on a large scale, I'm sure you're going to have some great stories to share with us today. And I'm really excited. Our topic, which is so exciting, it's a topic that people come and ask about all the time, which is servant leader. And I know that, everybody kind of how they get to where they are, they're able to take this and learn from it. But I know that there's a lot of young people out there right now that are, in being promoted, getting into this type of environment, having to support, customers, but wanting to do it the right way. And so that's why I was really interested to have you on Tech Talk Tony today, just so that you could be able to help share how you were able to get into this. Because I do recall correctly, if I saw this right, you have won the HDI award the last couple of years, right? Your team. Is that
Yep.
true? Okay.
Yeah, we 2022 is the first year I even knew HCI existed. I knew about STI, I didn't know about HCI, but our team have had an agent win Analyst of the
Okay.
Year, who's
Okay.
actually now one of our leaders, and we've had two Managers of the Year win. This past year, my direct report actually won Manager of the Year. So yeah, we're
That's awesome.
that's our goal is to win every single award
That's
that is
right.
offered, and
I
then
like it.
wait until we can win them again and win them again.
That's right. That's right. You're not competitive, are you? Not at all, right?
No, no, no. I
That's
just
right.
think we're the best in the entire world and have the most awesome people in the entire world.
That's right.
But
That's
not
right.
competitive.
That's right. That's right. I like it. I like it. Well, thank you for joining today. And we're going to get right into it. I've got three tough questions that man, I'm going to stump you today.
Bring it,
Okay.
bring it,
It's
Tony.
going to be a lot of fun. All right. Well, the first one is, what did you do different when being a servant leader and how?
That's a good question. I think looking at my background a little bit,
Yeah.
I actually talked about this at the first breakout I did. Was actually titled "The Heart and the Art of Leadership: Helping a Surviving Team Thrive Through Servant Leadership." And so
Mm,
I told a lot about my story, in the first year that I spoke at conference, and for me, it really started from understanding the concept of servant leadership. Started at
right.
Chick-fil-A,
Oh,
and I
check.
was a manager at Chick-fil-A and trying to work my way through college, not wise with money, taking out student loans to live. Eventually I needed to find a job, and I landed at Chick-fil-A, and they actually teach their philosophy for leaders is servant leadership. And so I
Oh,
didn't understand the concept before that. I think my background, I grew up very, very, very involved in my local church and youth ministry. And so I kind of learned a lot about servant leadership, not knowing what it was, through just being involved in leading youth and, teaching youth. And then I got to Chick-fil-A and I decided I wanted to operate and own one of these things.
right.
So
Right.
that was my dream. And through their leadership development program, they actually talk about servant leadership and the model that Stephen Covey kind of, put out there and
Right.
really made famous, right? He didn't start the idea of servant leader, but he really made it, prominent
Right.
in the business world and with leaders across organizations. And so um, I learned about servant leadership there. And from there, just the idea of servant leadership was really what I was all about. For me, it was about putting others first,
Right.
thinking about the well-being of your team, the people around you,
Yeah.
whether you're in a position of title of leader or manager or not.
Right.
And I really started to even understand the difference between management and leadership. And so at Chick-fil-A, it was all about, how do I equip the people around me to be successful? And that carried over into the tech world, to my marriage, to parenthood, to my friendships. And, I have my personal mission state, here, I'll pull it off and I'll show you.
Okay.
Taped to my desk, right? So I can see it every day. And there's a paragraph on it, and then there's some bullet points below it, some behaviors.
Right.
And number 2 on that list is I will be a servant, right?
Right.
And so it's really gone from really having a desire to be a servant to, man, everything I do, I want to be about other people, to about equipping other people, to adding value. The last
Right.
item on that list and those behaviors is I'm going to leave things better than I found them. And that includes the people that I interact with, people I get to lead, the teams that I get the honor and luxury of having some influence on. So really, I think the difference in what I did is, in terms of like the question, right, is ultimately I learned what servant leadership was, realized the concept, and from there, I just, for me, it's kind of always been a part of who I want to be as a person, as a man,
Right.
as a human. Is I want other people to be better because I'm in their life, right? And that's the crux of it, from what it's about and how it's different. It's not about getting output from people and just driving output, right? It's about ensuring that you have a desired outcome for them,
Right.
right? You have
Right.
you have a desired outcome that you're helping lead them to, right? A good leader rallies people around a shared vision, and
Hmm.
that's what it's all about, right? What is that shared vision, and how can I equip you to, and serve you ultimately to make that a reality and get excited about that? And it starts with people. So
Yeah. That's
I could
wonderful.
talk about servant leadership all day. So
That's right. Well, you're doing great. And a couple of
yeah.
things that you shared, I think, pretty important to call out, which is, you have your card deck. Um,
Mhm.
I hate to admit that I actually was around before we actually started working on some of these terms, before ITSM was a term. And so
Yeah.
I had the same situation when I worked at McAfee in New Jersey. And, I wanted to be better at what I was doing. So I actually wrote it on my mirror. I wrote it on my mirror.
Mm,
Before I left work, I could see those words that kind of were affirmations to the things that I really wanted to achieve each day. And I could see it as I walked out the door.
love
The other
that.
thing I think you're right about is it's not just, I mean, we get to learn these through business, but then, you apply it as a parent. And I
Yeah.
and I started to think about that. It's a lot of times like I've said this term before. You know, by the way, mom, dad, if you see this, sorry to say this, but I want to be better than my parents were for me,
Mm,
right? And so, we there's a bar that was set for parents, and now listen, I want to achieve more for that. And I think
yeah.
I agree with you. The tie to work and parenting, they all kind of go together. So my
Yeah.
answer to that is you either do it or you don't, right? And
Mhm.
I think it's if you want to achieve something, that's how you start, feeling that way across the board for the things that, in life we address. So I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, who you are at work is no different than who you are outside of work, right?
Right. Right.
Like you're just doing it in a corporate profession, a corporate environment, or nonprofit environment, or education environment,
Right.
wherever you're at, right? Government.
Yeah.
You're the same person. This whole
Yeah.
idea of work life separation is impossible. And
Right.
why would we want that, right? We
Yeah.
spend more time in our work environment than we do with our families, like
Exactly.
or sleeping,
Yeah.
like,
That's right.
so we are who we are, and we need the best of ourselves to show up when we show up
Yeah.
to work. And
Agreed.
you're just gonna, like you said, I think Tony, you hit the nail on the head. Either you're gonna serve people or you're not,
Right.
right? And think it starts intrinsically with what's your desire. That's why I think it's so important for leaders to know what they're about,
Yeah.
right? To know what they're about, because you can't serve people if you don't know why you're serving them, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. I love that. I love it. Actually, the only separation I've actually really seen is here you are in business and at home. And then here you are behind the wheel of a car. You know, there's a definite separation in that situation.
That's right.
Okay, sorry.
That's right.
That's a different podcast for a different day.